Tucker Carlson made this weird speech for TPUSA. I'm not a fan of the speech. I will be honest with you. I've been kind of side-eyeing Tucker here lately. Like, he's gone really anti-Israel just for whatever reason, which just does not bode with my ideology, okay? I am never going to get on board. I'm sorry. Until the Quran is burned, I'm never going to get on board with Islam. Okay, I'm just not. Until they stop the militant in their religion, what they consider religion. I don't consider a religion. I'm just not going to get on board with it. I'm sorry. People can call me whatever you need to call me that makes you sleep well at night. I don't care. I just, that's my line in the sand. So, whatever. Yeah, I think Tucker has drifted a little bit. And I think that there is reasons why he did. And I think he allowed his personal beef with something that happened to him override his good judgment. Like, I feel like he's scorned, okay? One thing I can't stand about a lot of people, it's just my personal, now granted, I'm sure it doesn't affect you guys like it affects me, any stretch of the imagination, and that's fine. Hey, Jacqueline, it's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you're doing well. It's the vindictiveness. It's, I didn't get my way, the whole JLR to Seth Rogers bullcrap, okay? That's the stuff I can't stand in politics, okay? Where you get your feelings hurt and then you just flip the script. You know what I'm saying? I hate the vindictiveness. And I feel like in the situation where we have Tucker Carlson, I feel like it's vindictiveness, kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, the whole beef, her turning brown coat, her turning to a traitor and stuff like that for the MAGA movement was vindictiveness. She did it to herself because she was angry with Trump. And it's like they can't control themselves. They're so arrogant. They only think of themselves, narcissistic, if you will. In many places, and we find these things out because the one characteristic of a narcissistic person is their ability to kind of be a chameleon, if you will, right? I think that that's a fair assessment. What makes narcissism and narcissists thrive is their ability to be kind of chameleons. Yeah, and she's doing the same thing, and they're from the same camp too. You know what I'm saying? And what had happened to Tucker Carlson, remember, he had a really good gig on Fox News, and he was basically untouchable, and he was able to talk about the stuff he wanted to talk about on such a large, grand scale because of the way he set up his contract. Very, very smart guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tucker Carlson is by far a very, very smarter than Bullhorn Betty could ever imagine being. Okay, I would strive to have a brain transplant with Tucker Carlson, and he's really a smart dude. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this guy whether he's a smart dude or not. The problem is that he got the shaft and he was booted. And I think it was President Obama's doing for some of the commentary that he was saying at the time. And I think that's what got him the boot. But the problem being is that he was pro, Israel. And then there were some things. There's been a big beef with Benjamin Netanyahu. It's not necessarily, in my opinion, that the beef is with the Israeli people or Israel as a country. I think it's the representation is where some of the issues had come. But either way, I think Tucker Carlson is so vindictive because he expected, I think, more or Israel to step up for him personally during this time, and maybe they didn't. And then there were some other things that happened because many people don't realize how much control Israel does have in the United States. We are very, very much allies. We also have a lot of control in Israel as well. So we have a lot of pressure in Israel. Israel has a lot of pressure here in America. That's just kind of how it works with those two nations, with our nation and theirs. And so I think that there was a huge fallout with Tucker and some other people with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu specifically. And that was the catalyst that kind of brought this statement in the TPUSA. I'm not going to play the TPUSA statement. You guys can go see it. You guys can clip it yourself. But he talks about basically Islam and the good people of Islam. Now, and understand, I do believe there are good people that are not, crazy, insane people that want to, America, just normal people that are in the Middle East that are just trying to survive and stuff like that. I truly do believe that. Hey, Croy, it's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Mama Bear, good morning. It's nice to see you. And so, but the problem is that their religion prevents them from doing anything about it. And that's where the problem I have comes in, okay? It's not that I don't believe there are great Muslims. I know great Muslims. But if your religion calls for people like me to lose their life, and it calls for nice Muslims like you not to report it because it's against your religion, well, there's our problem right there. I'm not saying that you're not a good person, but by failing to report a crime, or by failing to report this ethnic cleansing or something like that, and it being a violation to your religion, and therefore you will not, because you don't want to violate your religion, you can't be here either. Okay, we're not saying that you're not good people. We're saying that your religion has now dictated that you cannot be here. You cannot be around other people like us because your religion calls for the execution of us. You can't report it, even being a good Muslim. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at in the whole situation. But he was pro this statement that he made was it seemed to be almost like a pro-Islam framing. And so it's driving some controversy among, from my understanding, among TPUSA people. I got to tell you, it raised my eyebrows just a little bit, but I think it raised other eyebrows a lot more than it raised mine. And so there is some talk on Twitter. I saw it myself this morning about these statements about, trying to get things working together. And unfortunately, in the where I'm at, we're not going to be able to do that. And not only that, but I think Charlie Kirk was very, very clear on his convictions about Islam. Okay, and this is his organization, and this Tucker Carlson is somebody that I can tell you Charlie Kirk highly regards and highly regarded. So I'm kind of shocked that statement was, not that he wasn't allowed to have his First Amendment right on it to me countered the message that we've heard from Charlie for quite some time. And I'm just curious as to why he went through, with that particular type of speech. Has he sold? I don't know if he has. See, I feel like there's a piece of me that feels like Tucker Carlson is uncorruptible, but with the way that he's talking right now, and it totally counters my beliefs and ideology and stuff, especially with the Middle East and what they want to do. Because I study this stuff. I mean, I don't expect you guys to know. You think of them as human beings, and that's good. But these people, to be honest with you, it's hard to explain. But most of them, they're not here because they love our country. They're here because they want to take it over. Okay, you understand that? Like their whole sole purpose of traveling here from the Middle East was to procreate and to eventually take over our country. And that's where a lot of people aren't understanding and why these people are so bold and why they're doing the stuff they're doing, say in Texas and, some of them in Dearborn, Michigan and stuff like that. They're doing that because they want to show force. And this is a problem. This is a huge, huge problem. So I don't know how this is going to be, but I'm just a little sticker shocked is all. That's all, because of who Charlie Kirk was, who TPUSA is. I follow Charlie, I've heard many of his statements. I've heard many of his statements specifically related to Islam. So that's kind of my only concern. But there is an uproar. So I'm hoping that this doesn't, because Candace has almost divided the MAGA movement over this nonsense. And she hasn't been successful, but she almost did. And people are finally seeing her for the con that she is. Her own base is starting to turn on her, which I figured would happen. But there are a few people kind of sounding a lot the same. Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson. These are some big hitting people that had some major support for our president. So my curiosity is Tucker Carlson even on board with President Trump or the MAGA agenda anymore? Because sometimes, and that's going to really decide how we're going to be speaking about Tucker Carlson moving forward. But the man's a very wealthy man. He's done very good for himself under the MAGA movement. We've given him a lot of leeway to be the man that he currently is today. And trust me, without the MAGA movement or Donald J. Trump, I don't think Tucker Carlson would have been noticed in the way that he was noticed at the end of the day. But he does have a bid, from my understanding right now, with CNN. This is quite interesting. So we're going to steal just a little bit of Benny here this morning.
Year ever, Fox News completely dominating in the golden era because people don't like being lied to. Remember then this dude shot up NFL headquarters in New York, not too far from where CNN's building is. Well, CNN called him a white male. You can get people killed doing stuff like that.
And you can get people killed doing stuff like that. But, CNN is irresponsible. They have not been reporting news to the American people for over a decade. They've been reporting propaganda, okay? That has all CNN has been useful for here, in my opinion, is the propaganda. Tulips, Blue Wolf, it's good to see you. What are they trying to do is create a sleeper cell. Yeah, I think so. Something. That's exactly what they're doing. I agree. That Blue Wolf, yeah. Yeah. And it's concerning because, now we're starting to hear from people that we trusted for a long time that are now guiding us off a cliff over vindictiveness. Okay, it's getting hard. Has Tucker Carlson been sold out? Is he bought and paid for now? He had to sink or swim, guys. So you got to remember, when he was with Fox News, I trusted his reporting because he had a contract that was almost unbreakable. Clearly, it was breakable. But, and it gave him the ability to speak about anything he wanted without the influence of the board of directors of Fox. He had complete creative control over his channel. That is an amazing contract to have in any network, okay? I know I don't expect you guys to understand that, but people like me understand the importance of that. And why I have my own show is because I don't want anybody telling me what I can and cannot say. It's one of the reasons why I've never ran for office, right? Because as soon as you run for office, your First Amendment goes out the window. I will never change my stripes, okay? What you see is what you get. My mouth will stay the same. So it's whether I choose to represent my county on one side of the aisle or the other that keeps me with the good graces of the Lord and the law. So I'll stay on that side. Okay. I'll stay on that side. I'll keep pushing my people through, but I'll stay on that side. So let's listen to this.
You remember when they said it was mostly peaceful, fiery, but peaceful protests? There's CNN for you. And who can forget when Erin Burnett traveled to the Israeli invasion of Gaza and stood directly in the path of a slow-moving tank and claimed that she was in danger as the tank slowly put a little cloud of sand and dirt over her. Yes, it's not like you could move anywhere else in that gigantic field you're standing in as the slow-moving tank rolls toward you. Speaking of somebody who has tanked their life and career, Volodymyr Zelensky, in a famous CNN interview, being asked by Erin Burnett some of the toughest questions we ever heard in journalism.
As a human being,
so many people
look up to you. They rely on you.
Okay, I'm not going to listen to that. He might be able to get away with it, but he's got people that pay his salary. He doesn't need to be. I don't know if that music is going to kill me or not.
CNN's Trump supporters chanting over CNN's live shot.
Iowa and North Carolina are really states that should be in the bag for President Trump right now. That's an indication as to how much trouble he's in politically right now, Wolf. And as this crowd is chanting that there are members of the press here who suck, I should also point out, Wolf, what also sucks, getting the coronavirus.
You got him, Jim. You got him, boy. Man, howdy. You really fucking...
Oh, those are the good old days, okay? Those are the good old days. I tell you what, during the era, I was out on the streets protesting. You are not masking me, folks. I'm sorry. You're not masking me. Oh, good gracious, back in the day. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. But, I gotta tell you that I think that's when you got to see who had what it took. Okay, I really do. I believe the COVID era, you got to see who had what it took, because they tried like hell to make us so fearful. I never put a mask on my face. I never took an injection in my body. I was around upwards of 2 million people. Upwards of 2 million people. I have never caught COVID. I've never been sick. I wouldn't even let them test me. I didn't trust our government. You are not getting near me with anything. Okay? Because I truly believe the swabs that they were putting up your nose was infected. I think they were intentionally infecting people. I'm just telling you how I felt. Like, they weren't touching me with shit. I did not go to the doctor. I did not go to the hospital. Doctor away. I had my steel cross, my crucifix. I had my garlic. I had my silver, and I had my wood stake. Like, stay away. Stay away from me. Get away. The only people I wanted to be around was my Trump people. I went out. I had the best time at all the rallies. But anybody else? If you were a doctor, stay away from. Get the hell away from me, okay? Yeah, those were the only people I stood 6 feet away from. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say that now? Am I allowed to say that now? You guys know that's funny. The 6 feet were for the doctors, not for the people. And I told everyone, if you go into the hospital, do not let them put you on a ventilator. It was 100% you were gone, okay? I don't care if you can't breathe, you keep not breathing, okay? You keep not breathing. Don't let them put you on. I'm telling you, and I'll still tell you to this day, don't let them put you on that steel lung. You will never come off. You will never come off. And a lot of people, they fought it. They listened to the doctors. I would never listen to the doctors during that time at all. I would not listen to the doctors. The only doctors that I would even remotely talk to were the ones that I sat next to at my meetings. That's it.
Anderson Cooper makes $18 million a year. Anyway, it's all insane. And now it looks like Tucker Carlson may be taking over CNN. Oh, boy, howdy.
What?
So the background here is that CNN is for sale again. Warner Brothers spinning it off again. Warner Brothers is about to be bought, and they don't want CNN. Nobody wants that smoke, right? And so Tucker Carlson was asked, like, hey, why don't you run CNN? Why don't you do it? And his response.
I mean, he does have the experience. I mean, he knows. I mean, he built a great brand with Fox News, right? And the one thing I found out is the crazy people that want to control minds and bodies and souls and, of course, power and money, right? They were always getting into the teaching positions and the news positions. And I found that funny. So, you know what? In order for us to combat that, the sane versus the insane, we need more sane people getting involved in education and more sane people getting involved in journalism. Okay, that's what it tells me. Is this a great move? I think this would be a spectacular move if Tucker can pull it off. I mean, being an anchor, having a segment is much different than running an organization. Okay? Running an organization is a very tedious, complicated job to do. If you can imagine trying to, and of course it's the top-down approach, right? You have your lead, then you have the people that work under them that delegate the responsibility to, the staff under them, and so forth and so forth. So this is what we want to do. They tell them what you want to do. It's these people's responsibility to figure out how to get the job done and to delegate those responsibilities to their people in their departments and what have you. So you have a lot more responsibility and a lot more people relying on you than you do being an anchor or having an hour segmented window, in a prime time slot. So is he ready for this? I think, again, he is probably one of the smartest people I've had the privilege of getting to know. Not getting to know, but to know. I've met him before. I wouldn't say that I've had much of a conversation outside of asking him one or two questions in a journalistic stance, but I don't know. I think now if he's going to strike, now he needs to strike, because I think as he starts going with more pro-Islamic talking points, I have a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of people that are just going to organically fray away, like me. I frayed away. I used to be Major Tucker Carlson. I haven't watched Tucker Carlson in years, so I'm one of those people that, was hook, line, and sinker on just about every word. I started seeing him turn years ago. It just didn't go with my makeup, so I just kind of stopped watching him, and really haven't been back. Even with his podcast and everything else, I haven't watched him. I haven't really supported him at all over the last several years. So again, where is he going to go? And again, Tucker Carlson, for those that are coming in for our first segment, we went over to Tucker Carlson. I'm going to let you listen to just a little bit more here, and then we're going to move on to our second segment. But Tucker Carlson spoke at the Turning Points USA event, and it ignited backlash after remarks were made, interpreted as sympathetic to Islamic governance and critiques of the West. So now here's why this matters. Tucker Carlson is not just a commentator. He's a media power broker, whether people like it or not. His audience rivals cable news networks when he speaks, and narratives shift. Key discussion points: why conservatives are split on this speech, why legacy media seized on framing, and the difference between, cultural critique versus ideological endorsement. And I'm not saying that Tucker Carlson doesn't have his rights to speak freely about the topic if he has changed his talking points, because I can tell you he was not a pro-Islam person years ago. I can promise you that, okay? So where did the change come from? And is this an ideological endorsement versus a cultural critique? And I think that that's where we need to ask ourselves when it comes to Tucker Carlson. And unfortunately, I felt more like it was an ideological endorsement versus a cultural critique. And then, of course, it's persistent rumor is kind of being confirmed that Tucker Carlson could be involved in acquiring or influencing the purchase of CNN. CNN has changed hands and leadership repeatedly over the last 25 years, folks. So we've had multiple CEOs, frequent editorial overhauls, identity confusion post-Trump era. The real question is not, will Tucker buy CNN? The question is, why is CNN so vulnerable to speculation at all? Rating collapses. Audience trust has eroded to a abysmal nothing. And there's no consistent ideological lane. This is less about Tucker, but more about the collapse of the institutional media credibility. Will he be able to save it? Really tried hard, so we had a good, consistent, well-rounded live show today, both vertically and horizontally. I wanted to make sure that we had some talking points, not just our normal talking points, but I want to talk about some other things that are important to us. We're in true crime. I think our nation and our pursuit of safety in this nation is paramount to this channel. I think it goes to the safety, it goes to crime, it goes to a lot of things, and of course, a little bit of the entertainment stuff. We don't really, some of these people are more high profile than some of our crime cases, so they have more name recognition, if you will. But it's definitely interesting. But we've had a lot of CEOs, and again, just I think our mainstream media, at least what I've been talking about on this program for several years now, is just the trust aspect of it. It's getting harder and harder to, we used to go to our news organizations and conglomerates, whether it be Fox or CNN or ABC or MSNBC or NBC, any of the major networks. And we go there for the truth, and so many times, and you got to think of how frustrating it must be on people that are on the opposite sides of things. Like here we are arguing, and they've got news telling their people that we're lying. And then when the people have to find out that we weren't lying, that they were being duped, I mean, that's gotta weigh on their own people, because in the back of their own mind, they're like, wait a minute, I went to bat for this news segment once before, and I got, completely chewed up and spit out, and then find out that it was all true. They intentionally did this. I gotta think that the people that were fighting for them are getting sick and tired of fighting for them, because it's, the proof is in the pudding. You can tell that this has not been news. It's been propaganda, and everybody, yeah, that's all we want is the truth. Nobody wants to feel like they're being taken advantage of. That is not a selling point that any American citizen is going to, go up and sign. I'm getting blurry. Hold on here. Let me fix my camera real quick. I don't know. I think it's on autofocus. I don't know what made it go blurry, but it did just go blurry. So let me take the autofocus off. Just give me a second. My autofocus is on. There. Let's get you guys crystal. I want to get it blurry that way, and then blurry that way, and then I can... Ooh, look at that picture. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Right there. Look at that. Mm-hmm. That's what we need right there. That's what we need. Okay. So now that I'm in crystal clear, I have a muscle weakness disease. It took the first round of shots on the advice of my specialist. It made the symptoms worse. And, that's kind of stuff, even this weight loss drug, people are injecting themselves with it. I'm just shaking my head. It's like, yeah, you're losing weight, but what is that going to do to you 30 years from now? Are you going to get a weird cancer somewhere? I'm just at this point, I'm just like, nothing's wrong with me yet, knock on wood. I don't feel like putting anything in my body at this point. I just, I've been lucky. I've been very fortunate in life that I had only one broken bone in my entire life in 46 years. I haven't had a major, I've had, major surgery here. This is a brown recluse. I had some other, stuff, but nothing major has really happened to me. And even through the whole COVID, I trusted my gut, I trusted my instincts, and I trusted my research. Thank God. Thank God. And I wouldn't let anybody bully me into submission either. And again, thank God. People don't understand. Do you guys know how many movie stars and people that have just keeled over 2 years, 3 years later? You guys have any clue? It's a lot. It's a lot. people that you just don't even remember in movies that are just never about. And then one day you're going to be like, oh, what happened to that person? And you'll find out that they died in 2022 or 2023. And it's usually complications of, blood clots, or just pneumonia, or just sudden heart stop. Did you know that? Just your heart stops, you just stop breathing. Just boom. It's done. No amount of resuscitation is going to help you. Even like Diamond is one of them. Diane Keaton, I think she's victim of the jab. I really do. But there's so many other ones. Sports people that were coming up that didn't even make it. Musicians that were coming up because they all had to take this in order to get on planes to go fly around. I chose to get in my car and drive. Okay, I chose during this era not to be on planes. I only got on a plane one time, and it was for a couple hours, and I was miserable being on that plane for the couple hours. But I did what I had to do, and I swore I'd never do that again, and I never did. You know, I will not. I did just refuse to subject myself through it. But anyways, that's where we are. And I think that's why these news stations are doing so horribly. But it seems like CNN is the one that's been sold quite a lot. I think Fox News was just recently sold too, because they were tanking. They started tanking after they got rid of Tucker Carlson, and they got rid of. Nobody is really connecting the dots. That every time you do anything that the Democrats or the woke side of the aisle does, it ruins it. Okay, people collapse. They follow that agenda, that narrative, and that recipe. It's a recipe for slap disaster. You show me one positive thing that has came from a liberal person so far. You know, and I ask that lovingly. What good thing has ever come? Because every time I turn around, they're trying to change something that's not broken to make people miserable. Right? Look at what they did to the Cracker Barrel. We were fine with fresh biscuits. Why would you think that we're okay with getting three old day old biscuits? Okay? Biscuits are one of the cheapest things you could possibly make from scratch, and you really want us to eat 3-day-old biscuits because of money. You know what it all comes down to? And this is where it annoys the crap out of me, folks, because they're always talking about the rich, the rich, the rich. But who are the ones always driving up the cost to make the most money? That was a liberal woman that was trying to do what? Change things at Cracker Barrel for what? So she could get a bigger bonus. Isn't that a direct conflict from their ideology? I mean, I'm asking honestly, isn't it a direct conflict of their ideology, right? They want to give back to people, then why can't you give them frickin' free biscuits? I'm just saying. It seems like they want us to think that they're these people that aren't greedy, but every time you turn around, who are the ones running who are the CEOs running these companies? Think about it. Who are they? Find it. You find the answer. I'll buy you a Bullhorn Betty shirt. Find the answer. I'll buy you a Bullhorn Betty shirt. There's only one Bullhorn Betty shirt being offered in this, but find where what a liberal did that was good, that we can all say, you know what, that was a good thing, and I will give you a shirt. There's only one winner chicken dinner in this contest. Find it for me. Send it to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. You guys have, it's Friday the 19th. You guys have until... All right, it's Friday the 19th, so that's the day after Christmas. So, that's not fair. So we'll give you guys until December 29th. The 29th is when we're going to look and find out who has provided me some information about what a liberal has done that has been positive in this country. That's what I'd like, because everything I see, you go woke, you go broke. Sorry, not sorry.